All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to our morning note. My name is Carlos Garcia, founder and CEO of G.A.R Capital. Thanks so much for sticking with us, watching our videos. Really do appreciate it. Today is October 26, 2020. It is a Monday. Happy Monday, everybody. We are now just about 8 days away from the presidential election and, well, the other elections as well. We have governors running, we have senators running, and of course, congressmen running. So again, it's not just the presidency, it's other stuff as well. So that's about 8 days away. So early voting just kicked off. I believe it kicked off last week. A lot of high voter turnout. So again, in about a week, 8 days away, I will be watching, of course, the election. I probably won't sleep that night because I'll be watching the futures. So maybe for sure I'll be live tweeting everything as it comes in. So make sure to join us and follow us on Twitter. Maybe we'll do a live YouTube session. That'd be fun. If you guys are interested in a live election coverage with me, America's Anchorman. That's a joke. I actually told that to my uncle. He's actually watching. What's up, Theo? What's going on? America's Anchorman right here. GAR Capital, baby. If you are interested in watching a live election coverage, IG with Futures Talk and what it means, feel free to comment on this video. Feel free to comment on the chat room, and we'll definitely see if we could set that up. Reminder, tomorrow at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, I will definitely post it on Instagram as well, on Twitter. We'll have a live trading session because we have more than 5,000 subscribers. So don't forget, tomorrow we will have a live trading session. So make sure to set your alarm. 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. We'll start right after the morning note, and we'll go for an hour, and we'll answer some questions, probably do some live trades together, and we'll go from there. I love doing it. So if we get to 6,000 Twitter followers, again, these are all free services, guys. You don't have to pay for this stuff. It's free. If we get to 6,000 Twitter, I think we're at 5,870-ish, around there. If we get those 6,000 followers, I'll do another live trading session. So I love doing live trading sessions. If we could do it every day, I would love that. But again, make sure to tune in tomorrow. Turn on notifications if you haven't. Bottom right-hand corner. Turn on subscribe. Turn on notifications. Like our videos. Appreciate it. All right, back to why you're here. Let's talk markets. Dow futures down 309 points. NASDAQ down 100 points, 0.87%. S&P down 1% at 3416. And the Russell 2000 is underperforming the total broader index at 1.25% to the downside at 1615. Crude futures are down 2.5% at 38.82 a barrel. I had an interesting discussion with our students regarding crude. Bitcoin is up 1.5% at 13,170 on the future side. I've been saying Bitcoin. Gold down actually pretty flat, 1904 an ounce. Silver is down 1.4 at 24.32. Euro dollar at 118.11, down 0.39%, down 45 pips. The dollar yen is up 32 pips, 105.03 for my Forex people. Dollar index is up 0.32% at 93.06, and the VIX is spiking today at 8.49% at 29.89. So let's go over a couple things before we begin. First thing is the VIX. I'm going to go ahead and bring that up because it's something that I have been watching now for a couple of days. The level you want to put on the VIX is 3061. Right around 3050, 3030 has been that rejection of that resistance. And you can see on the hourly chart. If we bring up the daily chart, you could see that has been, with the exception of the spike in September, we have actually rejected every single time that level. And the 200-day moving average, according to VIX, keep in mind, guys, VIX is not a tradable security. VXX is, but not VIX. So again, 29.89 is where we are currently on the VIX, or 29.90, right? Rather, keep in mind that 3061 level. Once we start spiking above 3061, then you're going to start looking at some real volatility in regards to the downside for the market. So again, we're only 8 days away from the election. A lot more coming up. What's really moving the market now is COVID. COVID cases are spiking over the weekend. Again, whatever you want to, your opinion in regards to masks and no masks, but the numbers are there. This is reported by the CDC. I don't know if the state governors are going to go ahead and just start reporting their COVID cases every day the way Governor Cuomo was, DeSantis was in Florida, and one in Texas, Governor Abbott. But again, that could be moving the markets. Again, this could be, again, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor, could be a second wave, I don't know. But again, in regards to the market, that is something that is scaring the market down 299 points, obviously, as we get closer to the election as well. So again, a lot of moving and shaking this week because we have a lot of earnings coming up. Google will report after the bell today. Other than that, not much else, but Google is a big one, so we'll be watching that. Let's take a look at some pre-market movers together. This is on investing.com. Apple's down 1.14%. Obviously, Apple's the largest part of the S&P, largest part of the NASDAQ. So again, big movers. Again, 1.14%. AMD got a price upgrade today. I went ahead and retweeted the price upgrades every morning. You can take a look at that on our Twitter at GAR Capital. You can feel free to take a look here. This is my Twitter feed on TweetDeck. And as you can see, I really tweet a bunch of really good information for you to prepare for your day. So AMD was price upgraded from 85 to 95 by Susquehanna. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, but it's there. So feel free to check that out. Tesla is down 1.81%. Pre-market down around 413. Intel down 1%, still sliding after their earnings report. Microsoft reports on Wednesday. They are down 1%. Facebook down 0.56%. They report Thursday. Gilead down nearly 1%. Zoom, again, COVID stocks. Keep an eye on those. COVID stocks, Zoom, Peloton, those names are 1.36%. Cisco down 1%. Amazon down 0.59%. They report on Thursday. Let's take a look at the biggest movers. Snap is actually down 0.58%. Again, huge run up this past week, up nearly 50% in 4 days for Snapchat. AT&T down 0.97% on larger volume. We also have Dow Jones stocks. Boeing down 1.95%. They report on Wednesday morning before the bell. JP Morgan down 1.6%. Salesforce.com down 3% pre-market. And I believe also Walt Disney's down 1.7%. And then we have S&P movers. Morgan Stanley down 1.2%. American Airlines down 2%. Keep an eye on the airlines again with a larger spike or a second wave, quote unquote. Again, these will be definitely a hit to the recovery names. Again, the value names, the airlines that everyone's been looking at to buy. So again, we're not out of the woods yet. You know, cruise is the same thing. Not out of the woods yet, guys. So again, it's a lot to look at. So let's kind of take a look at. We know what's moving, right? We know what's moving down for the most part. What is my investment thesis right now? Well, we have a lot of earnings. So what I've been really focusing on is the social media names. Social media, to me, Twitter, Pinterest, Facebook. Again, all three report this week. I think we're going to get a higher leg up. I think social media with Snapchat, this really having a knockout quarter, having a profitable quarter, should reverberate to the other social media stocks. So keep an eye on Twitter, Facebook, and Pins. Twitter is actually looking like an ascending triangle. I'm going to go ahead and bring it up here. And you could see to the upside now, we're going ahead and breaking the 50 here, but we should get a nice bounce up above that 50-53 level. The next one is Facebook. I also have calls here. You could see still above the ascending triangle level that I placed here. So again, I have the 300 calls personally with our members. We're at 283.60. They do report on Thursday. I'm expecting to close these trades before their earnings. Pinterest, another one that has been doing very well. Again, all-time high, so I can always draw here my ascending triangle. You could see here, and then you have your resistance right at this wick if you want to place it there. If you want to place that wick, I'd rather just put it at the settlement candle, but again, we could just do it just for illustration purposes, and you could see that well-defined trend line. I'm maybe a little off there, but 56 is my target. I have the 56 calls with our masterclass students. So our masterclass students are on Pinterest, they're on Twitter as well with me, and they also have Facebook, and we're looking pretty solid on these. So I do like Pinterest, I do like Twitter, and I do like Facebook this week. I think they're the ones that are a little bit more insulated to stimulus talks and more COVID since they are digital. I know people are going to ask me about Zoom. Zoom has actually bounced back, obviously. The names that have done very well with COVID going on, again, more of the online shopping, you know, the Zooms of the world, the Pelotons of the world, the streaming names, Roku. Let's take a look at them. Zoom. You see above the 200-day moving average. Keep an eye on that thing. I would take a look at around 533.69, 536.69. The problem is that they're extremely expensive, so be very careful on this. Let's take a look at Peloton. You know, again, with more COVID, you would be expecting Peloton to actually gain a little bit here since people won't be probably going to the gym if we have a spike in cases or a second wave. what you're looking for here is really the 200-day, which is around 127. So 127 break on Peloton, I'd probably buy calls, and I'd go ahead and look for the 134-ish, 130s, which would be above the 100, obviously. If you really want to play the full recovery of Peloton, it would be around 135. And then you have the next leg up to 140, which we went ahead and rejected. But again, a break of 127 would be the 200-day moving average on the 1-hour chart on Peloton. I like this here, but I'm going to see if I get that break first. Roku is a name that I've owned now for a while. As you know, it's one of our top 10 stocks of 2020. I have an alert at 235.47. It's a volatile name, so you have to be very careful. But looking at here, we did get a gap fill right to the T at 231.54, so there's no other gaps to play. Really, the part you want to really look for is a recovery above 235.47 is what I'm looking for. Let's kind of look at the indices before I take some questions. Let's take a look at SPY. What is my support level? What is my resistance level? The support level for me really is that big target there, 339.28. If you break that below that Fibonacci level, then you can start looking at some puts. You could probably play below. But the problem is that every time we've kind of broken down a little bit, we start getting some stimulus headlines, and then it just kills any kind of puts you have. So again, right below 40 would be a good way to get there. Then you could target 335. It's almost at the fives is where you're starting really getting some action. If we break down the Fibonacci levels on SPY, you could see it's really based on the last fall from September. That's where I put our Fibonacci retracement levels with the full retracement at the top are at 358.75. So feel free to take a look at that. Next one is QQQ, the NASDAQs. I'm expecting a boost in the NASDAQ due to these quarterly numbers that we're going to get from Apple, Amazon, Google, Facebook, and all these names. Netflix wasn't great, obviously, but again, streaming slowed down a little bit for them. But again, they had a knockout quarter before that. So I'm expecting Facebook to have a great quarter. In fact, I'm expecting Apple to have a great quarter. I'm expecting Amazon to have a knockout quarter, but I'm not going to trade that. It's too expensive. And definitely expecting Google to have a good quarter as well. Since, again, more of the digital names, again, they're insulated from COVID. They're insulated from stimulus. They make great money. So, again, I still like these names. I still own them long-term as well. Again, anything that's a dip for me would be a buying opportunity anyways. Looking at Qs, there is a key level right around 281.78. So again, if you do break 281.78, if we want to be prudent, we can put it at 281.70. So it kind of confirms that downside move. Then we could start looking at playing some puts here and targeting around 276. One more before I take questions is IWM. That was an actual trade I did live and recorded for our University of Maryland MBA students that I lecture on the weekends. So again, I showed them the whole deal. I even put it on YouTube for you guys, the exact breakdown on how I did IWM. That was live, mind you. And you could see we do have a double top and a double bottom. I don't believe in triple tops or triple bottoms. If we start knocking on the door of 164, it will be a breakout. If, on the contrary, we start breaking down and start knocking on the door of 158, then you'll start looking at possibly a breakdown on small caps. What I have noticed is that on small caps and tech stocks, so let's take a look at, again, compare IWM and QQQ, they are moving inversely. So again, you start seeing when the small caps are up, they're either outperforming the Qs or they're underperforming the Qs. Keep an eye here on IWM. IWM actually has a gap to fill right around here at 163.15. So again, if you do break this 200-day moving average, 161.84, then I'd like to go ahead and play calls right at the 164 level. Again, I don't need to be in the money in order to make money on this trade. So again, 161.84. If we get a break on IWM, we'd see another gap fill, which we have played before, to around 163.17. Keep an eye on the actual options volume as always, and make sure to have proper risk management. Okay, enough of me talking. Let's answer some questions. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm watching Twitter. Toquito says Twilio. Twilio I don't play at all. I've never played options on it. But looking at it, for the most part, I guess a break of 317.28 would probably be your play, but I'd have to say the volume. Good morning, boss. Thanks for the call on Twitter. Hopped on it, planning to hold. Have you sold? I haven't sold anything because the markets are not open. Thoughts on DAL, which I also have calls on. Again, it's all about COVID right now. So again, nice little fall here, but there's a gap to fill right around 33.84. We should be able to fill that gap about today, if not tomorrow. The good news is that we're still above the breakout point, which is right around 32.85-ish, above the 50-day. I like how DAL is looking here. Love AMD and NVIDIA. Definitely. What are your thoughts on buying Autodesk stock? I don't know much about Autodesk for the most part. Good morning, Carlos. Thoughts on antitrust attacks on big firms, Google? The antitrust things, I really don't take a really big deal on that. Until there's actually some kind of action on it, it's just talk. Again, these companies make tons of money, and actually, in my opinion, Google is worth more broken up than anything. So again, if you own Google and they actually have to break up some of their businesses, that's a big move for the bulls in regards to Google. What do you think is a good entry for AMD earnings? I would not get into entry for AMD earnings, so let me go ahead and fix that for you. Do not trade AMD ahead of earnings. And I don't know what Big Navi is. Do you like T or VZ more? T has a better yield, obviously. VZ has a more steady stock. So again, I own both. So again, I don't have any differentiation. It really depends on your risk tolerance. If you're the type of person who's all about yield, then you want T. If you're all about, steadiness of the stock price with a solid yield, I'd go with VZ. Hey, Carl's looking to get into options trading and start purchasing signals in a bit. As a UK resident, what's the deal on the PDT? I don't know the PDT rules in the UK, but you can use interactive brokers. So you may want to contact them and ask them. Should we close DAA calls? Markets are not even open. Why are we talking about closing? No. I haven't traded Zoom since it was $90, extremely expensive. I agree. I haven't been in Facebook in years, but I have been seeing lots of August political dialogue. Others said the same. I see social media apps exceeding earnings. Absolutely. Again, that's a stock that I've been saying that if Trump does win re-election, I want to be adding to Facebook and Twitter. Those are the two I would actually want to buy more of shares of. So again, if he does win re-election, I'm going to buy more of those two shares. I'm personally not on Facebook at all. I use Twitter the most and I use Instagram the most. But again, Instagram and WhatsApp, which I both use, is owned by Facebook. Are you still holding the 35 calls? Yes. Any hope for IWM and small caps this week with such heavy tech earnings? Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a gap to fill. I just went over it. Thoughts on NLS? I don't know what NLS is. Are you still holding the 35? Yes. Tesla for the most part, I would stay away. Not much going on there. You have to get above 436 before you do anything. I'm hoping we break below 400 so I can buy more shares. Fiverr reports this week, so stay away. I would not touch Fiverr whatsoever. In order to even play this thing, you need to retake this 176 level. Would you consider trading Carvana? If they had the volume, maybe. How do you do what Microsoft 215 calls look for you? No. They have earnings this week. Stop playing earnings before they happen. No. Bible plays for Ant Financial IPO this week. Now that's interesting. Again, there's a level here, 314. If 314 breaks, then I will take a look at some calls for good old BABA, which I do own shares. Would you say yes to Google? OKTA puts. I don't know what OKTA is. Yeah, I could see that support here around 209.55. If you start breaking below that, then yeah, you can start looking at some puts. Thoughts on Crowd dip a little? I believe CrowdStrike does report tomorrow, so I would not touch it. BA is a good buy. Wait for earnings before you do anything on Boeing. I own shares. eBay calls this week. I believe they report as well. Don't do anything. DKNG or Penn, I own both. That's part of my investment thesis. If the Democrats do win the House and the Senate and the presidency, if we get a blue wave, it's Bitcoin, betting, and blunts. That's cannabis stocks, that's gambling stocks, the vice names, and Bitcoin, since liberals will spend like there's no tomorrow. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and end it there. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. I will catch you guys tomorrow for the morning note, 9 a.m., and then we'll transition into the live trading session at 9:30 to 10:30. So make sure to turn on your notifications for the YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe. I hope you guys will enjoy it. Get your questions ready for me because I'm ready to answer them all. Let's have some fun. Absolutely, let's have some fun together. Have a great rest of your Monday, and we'll talk soon. I'll see you tomorrow.